Eerily haunting true stories about remote abandoned locations rich in history. Come with us, now travels from state to state, if you dare.
Be the last time anybody sees us alive. I don't know where she has us holding the fucking pill.
Hello? Gina, there is a beehive over there. Do you see that in the hole?
Buckle up, Buttercup.
Welcome to 50 States of Madness.
Welcome to 50 States of Madness.
Hi. Good
Hi.
afternoon.
How are you?
Good. I'm Shannon.
I'm Gina. How
And
are you? You're
I'm
good?
doing good.
It's hot. It's hot today.
I know. And you know what?
Oof.
And if you guys hear noises, I'm not tooting, I swear, but the chair, every time I move, it keeps squeaking on my booty.
Oh, okay.
So, just so you know.
All right.
Not the toots.
All right. So we've been getting some comments on our YouTube videos that we were just talking about.
I was laughing.
Yeah, it's actually pretty funny.
I love interaction, though.
And we always say, like, you know, please comment if you have any questions, comments, concerns, whatever, constructive criticism. We're up
Watch
for
the
it
whole
all.
video before you comment, though.
Yeah, watch the whole video. But
Let that view register.
yeah, and I just
Even if you hate us, keep watching, please.
I mean,
kidding.
yeah, because your comments help us out, your views help us out. So thank you for that. Yeah. Thank you for the hate. Yeah. So in our last video that one of our last videos, I don't know when this one's going to go up, but in a previous video that we did, we are trying something new called shooting the shit.
Yes.
And it's just more of a casual conversation instead of just, you know, reading off of a paper and telling the facts. Shannon and I are just, you know, sitting here shooting the shit about, you know, the ones that we're going to do are going to be high profile cases. So the majority of people that are searching channels like this are probably familiar with.
Yeah.
And we're just kind of, you know, maybe playing devil's advocate. I don't know, like giving both sides, looking at both sides.
Yeah. I mean, that's what every investigator does too.
Yeah, you have to look at both sides.
And I know that there's a lot of information out there, but it's just a conversation that we're having between friends. So I just want it's not anything where we're listing facts or we want to change people's minds. We're just kind of we're just, you know, shooting the shit.
Yeah. And so we had a listener call me. I think he was probably mostly directed towards me because of my viewpoint on it all, but they called me a Scott Peterson supporter. So I just want to put it out there. I am not a Scott Peterson supporter.
No.
So let's just leave that there.
No, we're just
But
presenting
I
one
just
side or
feel
the other.
like in, you know, cases, you need to look at all angles and you need to look at all of the evidence. And I don't feel like in that case that was done.
Yeah.
So that's neither here nor there.
And he's still guilty. Like, you know,
he's in jail.
So
yeah, he is. And he could very well be guilty.
There's nothing Gina can do by shooting the shit with Shannon to change Scott Peterson's fate.
No.
So don't worry. He's still there.
Yeah, he's still there.
We have no pool
and
no money.
And this person also commented, you know, that we're sitting here making money and how disgusting we are for making money off of supporting somebody like this. So let's just throw that out there. We're not making money off of this.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's just put that out there. So
but
I mean,
we do thank our Patreons. But it does help us
absolutely
keep the videos going. But
absolutely,
yeah, we're definitely not running around.
If that person thinks that we're making money off this, then maybe our checks are getting mailed to their house and not ours. Because yeah,
we have no.
So
they're not coming to me.
Yeah.
No. But anyways,
yeah.
Notice anything different about me?
I mean, I do. Yes.
Well,
she got her hair done.
I did get my hair done. It's amazing what vitamins can do for your hair.
She's such a liar.
And extensions. So
Shannon, so if you're just listening to this, you have to hop on over to YouTube and check out Shannon's new do. She got her extensions put in because she's going to be leaving day after tomorrow for Alaska.
I am. So I needed some warmth on my head.
Yeah.
And I needed to look presentable in a beanie when I get all warm.
Could already had that beanie conversation.
Yeah, we did have the beanie conversation. So I got the hair for the beanie.
Yeah, so I know that we talked about prior to this about when Shannon was going to be leaving that there might be a possibility of me doing some episodes by myself, but I think we are actually going to be caught up and we will be.
Shannon pulled through.
Yeah. So
we met more than one time a week. No,
I'm not going to make her Zoom from Alaska, but I should, but I'm not going to. So
I'll be on a cruise ship, so I won't have any service. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. That's where all the money's going.
Oh,
no, just kidding.
Be on a cruise, yeah. I think you
it's
actually
my 25th wedding anniversary.
I think you had this cruise planned before we ever even.
A year and a half.
Yeah, I was like, we weren't even doing the podcast.
No, it was a year and a half. I've had it planned. I've been making payments on it, and I bought it I paid for it during the quarantine during the pandemic because they weren't cruising at the time and cabins were really low. Oh, super low. Like the deal I got on this cruise for a 10-day cruise, your mouth will drop.
Well, you have fun.
Yeah. So
my mouth won't because I have no desire to be on a boat. So, you have fun.
No,
take lots of pictures.
A lot of planning. And that's the whole reason why I'm working Starbucks too.
Yeah.
I work 2 jobs.
Yep.
3 counting this one. So
yeah,
my nonprofit job right here.
Right. There you go. Yeah, there it is.
But yeah. And when I called you today, every time I try to reach Gina, every single time, she always picks up and this is her. Yeah. What do you want? I'm like, I'm at your house right now, but I know I'm early, so I'll just wait for you. Are you still at work? I'm chasing after a kid right now. I got to go. Every single time she is running after a kid.
It's in motion. But I had seen that you had called before, but I wasn't by my phone.
Yeah.
And so then you called the second time. So I was like, okay, I'm going to try to pick up real quick and just let her know. Like, I'm still at work.
I figured.
I work late on Fridays. So yeah. So that is all. So we are going to talk about Rebecca Schaeffer. And Rebecca Schaeffer was an actress that she played on a sitcom called My Sister Sam. She also had a short part for a few months on One Life to Live. And she was in some movies and did, I think, a lot of extra work and stuff like that. So yeah, we're going to tell her story today, which is a sad one. So you're gonna.
It brought a lot of good though, but it did.
It did. Which we've actually done a lot of stories like that where, through all the tragedy, there's actually been a light at the end of the tunnel, and it's done, a lot of positive things for people. So yeah, and this is one of them. So take it away.
Okay. So Rebecca Lucille Schaeffer was born on November 6, 1967 in Eugene, Oregon, and was an only child. Her mother was a writer and an instructor, and her father was a child psychologist. Rebecca was raised in Portland and initially aspired to become a rabbi. During her junior year in high school, she started modeling and appeared in department store catalogs, television commercials, and was an extra in a television film. In 1984, when she was only 16 years old, she worked during the summer in New York City and then, with her parents' permission, stayed there to pursue modeling. I found that surprising.
I know. Yeah. 16 years old.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And then,
that's why I said only.
Appeared in department store catalogs. I remember waiting for the Sears catalog and
JCPenney.
Yeah. I just used to flip through those all the time and I want this. I want this. I want this for Christmas, for my birthday.
Yeah, it's all
stuff
online
anymore.
I know. There's something about, like you said, a book or holding something.
Yeah, definitely.
I was watching something on that. They were saying menus, restaurant menus.
Oh yeah, you just scan the little thing now,
and he was saying it's coming back and people are asking for it, but he's like, as a manager or owner of a restaurant or something, I don't know what he was, but he was saying that it's real. He goes, I understand the draw of a menu, but you can't make changes or if something's not working. It's expensive to print,
That's
new
true.
menus.
Actually,
so I was
that's
like,
true.
yeah.
I never thought of that.
I never had either. And
Interesting.
He's like, it's easier to switch out the menu and change things and, add and delete and stuff. So I was like, okay. Maybe I
get
can support
that.
this.
I'm not sure that's the reason that they do it, though. I think it all started probably during COVID. And
that's what he's
people touching them.
Yeah.
And
yeah. But now he's saying like, hey, there's a lot of benefit to it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't long before Rebecca landed the role of Annie Barnes on ABC's One Life to Live. But that only lasted 6 months. She moved to Japan in 1985, hoping to find more modeling jobs, but still found it difficult. Rebecca was 5'7" and was considered short for high fashion modeling. I was going to say that 5'7", yeah.
I would give anything to be 5'5". I'll just take I'm like 5'7", considered short. I mean, I get it, but
I was 5'6" growing up, but then as I get older, they keep telling me I'm shorter and shorter. Like I think I'm at like 5'5.5" now.
Oh, well,
yeah.
What's gonna happen to me?
Oh, you're gonna be like,
I'm gonna be in the 4 foot range before long.
I'm not gonna be able to find you anymore.
Great.
After having no luck in Japan, she moved back to New York to pursue an acting career. In 1986, she got a small role in Woody Allen's comedy Radio Days. However, her character was edited out except for one brief scene. When Rebecca appeared on the cover of 17 magazine, she caught the attention of television producers who were casting for the comedy My Sister Sam, starring Pam Dauber. I loved 17 magazine.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. The little, does he love me?
Yeah.
Questions or like, what kind of boyfriend will you get?
Yeah.
Like,
all of the,
what was it? Like little,
they were all the no, what were they? Like little quizzes that you would take.
Yes.
And yeah, I used to read
Are
that
you
all
a
the
good
time.
kisser?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I miss those magazines.
I really do too. It was first like Teen Beat and all that, but then, as you got when I'm probably about 12 or 13, I'm like 17 magazine.
Oh yeah.
It's
too old for me, but I'm going to read it.
I'm
anyway.
going to read it. That's me.
Yeah.
So Rebecca got the role of Patricia Russell, a teenager who moved from Oregon to San Francisco to live with her 29-year-old sister Sam after the death of their parents. Rebecca lived with Pam Dauber during her work on the series. My Sister Sam was canceled halfway through its second season in April 1988 due to failing ratings. After the show's cancellation, Rebecca went on to have many other supporting roles. And I always wondered how they got the ratings. I know at one point they brought a box to my house back in the day.
Yeah.
Is that how they
That's how they did it.
They knew.
And it's crazy because for some reason, because I watched that show, I didn't know that it was canceled. For some reason, I thought that it was like had way more seasons than
2.
1.5, basically, because it was canceled halfway through the second season. But I thought it was a great show. I watched it.
Yeah. I never really watched it, but that's because during that time, what year was it? I think it was
late 80s.
What was I watching during the late 80s? I don't think I was really into television much when I was younger.
Oh, I was.
Yeah.
I loved sitcoms and
I don't think I watched too many during that time. Can't pull me away from the TV, but
yeah, I was a big TV watcher. Not so, I guess I am now, but not nearly as much as I was when I was younger. But
we flipped.
Yeah. And I still like to sit down and watch like an old sitcom every day.
Yeah.
Three's Company, The Love Boat. Like
I come over here and Gina's mom's got this really cool channel 13 during the day. Is it Channel 13? And it's got all the old Leave It to Beaver and
I love them all.
Yeah.
So that's what we watch here. So I'm going to talk about a man by the name of Robert John Bardo. Robert John Bardo was born on January 2nd, 1970, and he was the youngest of 7 siblings, and he grew up in Tucson, Arizona. During his childhood, Robert was the object of much physical and mental abuse. He was abused by one of his siblings and was then placed in foster care after threatening to commit suicide. How awful is that?
How sad.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Not only are you a victim of this, but then now you're going to be removed from your home.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't the other one be removed?
It's probably, for his
like,
safety, though, I would think.
I know, but that's just, I don't know. I just feel like pulling a kid out of the home into the foster system is just so detrimental to them. I mean.
But how is this family?
Yeah. So Robert's family had a history of mental illness, and he would later be diagnosed with bipolar disorder. One of Robert's teachers recalls him being a time bomb on the verge of exploding. He was also known to write threatening letters to his teachers. That's scary.
I know.
That's really scary, especially in this day and age.
Yeah, I have a story about how little they can be in writing and
drawing
pictures.
Drawing pictures.
Just,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I had a student that
it's scary. It's so scary. If they can't write, they can definitely get their point across with pictures.
With pictures, definitely.
So at age 15, he was institutionalized for a month to treat emotional problems. Robert dropped out of high school in 9th grade and began working as a janitor at Jack in the Box. Robert's neighbors said that he exhibited strange and threatening behavior and had been arrested 3 times on charges of domestic violence and disorderly conduct. In the fall of 1986, Robert became a fan of the show My Sister Sam. In particular, he began being obsessed with the character Patty, or Patricia, played by Rebecca Schaeffer. He had built a shrine of Rebecca in his bedroom. Clue number 1. Clue number 1.
That's in every Stalker 101 movie.
Yes.
The shrine.
Robert began to write fan letters to her. Rebecca even responded to one, saying his letter was the most beautiful thing that she had ever received, and she drew on it a peace sign and a heart and signed it "With love, Rebecca."
And that's just someone interacting with their fans,
of course,
and being kind.
Because speaking of magazines, you know, they had that Teen Beat magazine back then and whatever they were all called. And they're talked about fan clubs and all that stuff on there. And you used to be able to
fan mail,
write all of them. And I feel like a lot of them would write back.
Yeah, no.
That was just like a normal thing to do. And, you know, here she is trying to be a good person and respond.
Yeah.
You know?
Trying to be kind.
Yeah. So on the day Robert got the letter, he wrote in his diary, "When I think of her, I would want to become famous to impress her." So I think that his, you know, goal in life now was to become famous so she would be impressed by him.
Isn't that similar to, what is it, Jodie Foster? Oh,
yes.
Is it Jodie Foster? Yes.
Same thing.
Same mindset where, you know.
Yeah, it's really scary. And I think it's worse these days. Like with now, I feel like there's so many, you know, like an influencer is considered a celebrity now, and they have all these TikTok people. And
you do hear about these cases, the podcasters who got murdered and by a stalker, and it's scary.
It's very scary. Yeah. It's really, really scary. So,
and that is why we keep our subscribership down to a minimum. I'm just kidding.
We're gonna have to be really careful.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
Oh my gosh, not the hair.
Oh yeah. Not the hair.
I know.
Here I go. I'm gonna go into my Kardashian thing. Not the hair. So in June of 1987, he showed up at the Burbank studios where the show My Sister Sam was produced. He got to the gate carrying a teddy bear and a bouquet of roses. The guards would not let him in. He returned a month later, but this time he had a knife. After not being allowed through the gate a second time, he went home and wrote in his diary, "I don't lose, period." I want to know why he wasn't arrested when he went to the gate the second time with a knife.
And then also he had a history of
stalking people. Because she wasn't the only one.
An obsession with Madonna, Debbie Gibson, Tiffany.
Yeah.
Can I break out into song? No, I'm just kidding. So I'm like,
why aren't we looking at like
history of this? I don't know if they've ever reported him though, or if he ever got to the point where he was with Rebecca, but if they would have just,
but I mean, if he's showing up, and I don't know how many fans show up with, you know, letters and teddy bears and flowers or whatever, but if you're showing up with a knife,
I think back then they really didn't stalking wasn't a thing too much, maybe, and so
yeah, I don't know. I just feel like that should have been
taken as serious.
Yeah, that should have been a red flag for sure.
Yeah.
Robert then returned to Tucson. When Rebecca came out in the movie Scenes from the Class Struggle in Beverly Hills, Robert couldn't envision her being an adult woman. In the movie, Rebecca had a bed scene with a male actor, and this upset Robert. He said she now had become one more of the bitches of Hollywood. This enraged Robert, and he said that she needed to be punished. He drew a diagram of her body and marked spots where he planned to shoot her. So I think this is like become more than stalking at this point when
he's planning.
Yeah, and I feel like when they get to the point where they're in this false relationship, like, you know,
I mean, for him to get so upset over somebody he's never even been with or even met.
Yeah, so it's this stuff it's really scary how quickly this progresses.
It escalates. Yeah, it's crazy.
In the summer of 1989, Robert tried to purchase a .357 Magnum from Jensen's Firearms in Tucson, Arizona. He filled out the paperwork, answering yes to having been committed to a mental facility, which disqualified him. Robert also was underage at the time, but had a fake driver's license that he was going to use. So he probably could have pulled it off.
Yeah,
with the driver's license.
Yeah, give it to them,
but he had
a fake name on the fake driver's license.
I don't know. Right? It just says a fake driver's license. Okay. So I don't know.
Yeah, he probably could have tried to get away with it, but he was filling out the paperwork.
Yeah, he was honest about it. Obviously, didn't know the rules.
That's what we're giving him.
Yeah. So the salesman told him he couldn't purchase the firearm, and Robert got irate and said he wanted to fill out another copy of the paperwork. So he's like, whoa, hold up a second. Can I get another copy of that real quick so I can fill it out the right way? Come on, buddy. The salesman called over another coworker for help and explained to Robert that they wouldn't be able to sell him the gun and that he needed to leave immediately. The two then escorted Robert out of the store. The manager of the store then hung up Robert's paperwork on the bulletin board and wrote, "Do not sell to this individual." So sounds like they probably had an area where, you know, they could
post,
you know,
name, or was there a picture as well?
No, it doesn't say there was a picture, but it just says his paperwork. But I don't know. They might take your picture.
Yeah, but I'm thinking, like, you know, if he gave a different
name, then
it wouldn't be up there. Yeah.
So the next morning, Robert came back to the store with his brother. Doesn't sound like he's very smart. Came back to the store with his brother, who purchased the same gun and gave it to Robert when they left the store. So brother purchased it for him. They walked outside. He handed over the gun.
Oh, okay. It was that easy.
Yeah.
I guess there wasn't a picture.
I guess there wasn't the same salesperson, or I don't know. I have no idea. He then got on a bus.
I like how that wall of names worked. I wonder how many others slipped through that way.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Okay. Very disappointing. Got on a bus from Tucson to Hollywood and began trying to track Rebecca down. On July 17th, 1989, Robert called Rebecca's agent, trying to find out where she lived.
You can do that?
This just goes to show you
the state of mind
that this guy is in, and why. If somebody is calling their agent looking for where they live,
I didn't know you could do that. I would have been like Andy Gibb.
How many red flags are popping up at this point, though?
Who else? I would have been like,
he shows up with a knife after showing up with presents.
I don't know.
His history that we've already, you know, like, I don't know. I feel like there were lots of things missed here.
Yeah. Was it that easy? Just let me know. Like, was it that easy? Could I have been on the phone trying to get a hold of where Andy Gibb lived when I was 7 years old?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's making it sound really easy, and I don't know if this was part of his mental illness, that maybe he thought that it was going to be that easy, or
so it wasn't. Please tell me.
I'm assuming not. I don't know.
How do you just get a hold? I don't even know how to get a hold of anybody's agent now.
Yeah, I mean, this guy was just really,
with this day and age of social
now
media.
I'm sure it was a lot easier. I'm sure it's a lot easier now to do that than it would have been back then. So I feel like he put a lot of effort into doing this.
Okay.
So after her agent refused to give him the information, Robert took to the streets. He walked to the streets holding a photo of Rebecca, asking people if they knew where she lived. Yeah, so he's just cruising up and down Hollywood Boulevard like, yo, have you seen her? Do you know where she lives? Can you tell me?
I just want to say, for people who have not been to LA and Hollywood and Studio City, like, it's huge.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's huge. Like, it's not like a small town where everybody knows everybody. Like,
But just that, to be in that state of mind where you think it's going to be just that easy.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. It's terrifying on a level because I feel like this wasn't just like one thing that happened. Like, to look back, there's a trail. Yeah. This man is leaving a trail.
And I look at this date and year. This is the year I graduated. Just, now you guys can figure out my age. But I graduated high school in 1989. I was going up and down my mom lives in that area.
Yeah.
My mom and dad. I was going up and down those streets all the time.
Yeah.
There. And there's this
I think
guy
I was in 8th grade.
with a gun.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Gina. There was a guy.
I think I graduated in 88. 8th grade in 88.
grade,
So it might have been like a freshman.
Ninth
Yeah, I
grade.
was probably a freshman in high school. But yeah, I mean, just to know that.
Well, at least you weren't saying I was just born.
Right. I was only one. I'm just kidding. I wasn't. I was not. But still, like, just to know that,
that's crazy.
We're out there on the streets and here's this guy just roaming around our neighborhood.
Asking people,
hey, do you know where this girl lives? And like, can you show me? Can you show me where she lives? Like,
I would be, if somebody came up to me and asked me that, I'd be like, I'm sorry. Even if I knew the person, I wouldn't give that information out to just some random stranger walking down the street. And I hope nobody would do that with me. Like, would do the same for me. Like, if somebody had my picture and like, just, it's just,
no, it's
insane.
scary. It's really scary. So, so after he was turned down and he was out of luck, he turned to a private investigator. He paid this private investigator $250. And in turn, the private investigator went to the DMV, paid $1, filled out paperwork, and gave him her address. Because at that time, all you had to do was fill out a form. You had to say the person's name, what you were going to do with the information, why you needed it, and if you wrote, something that was somewhat normal, like why, like, oh, I'm a long lost relative or whatever, trying to reconnect, for $1, they don't do that
anymore, right?
On the spot, they would hand you.
They don't do that anymore?
No, I'll get there because that's where
and I want to say, what's the thing about that? Something happens back then. Let's just say, I don't know, and maybe that you're going to get to this as well. But if something happens to somebody, is that private investigator held responsible as well?
I don't think so.
For getting that information and handing it to this guy? Like,
I'm sure now, but back then, probably not. There weren't laws for any of this back then.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's for
$1.
$1, and he paid $250 for this guy to go to the DMV. And
what he could have done,
literally on the spot, though, you fill it out, you pay the $1, you fill it out, and they give you all the information.
And he could have done it himself for $1.
Mm-hmm. But he paid $250 for
this
it.
Investigator.
Yeah,
he's running a scam.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So after Robert got Rebecca's information on July 18th, 1989, he went to her apartment building and he rang the doorbell. Her intercom wasn't working, so she came downstairs to the apartment building's front door and she greeted him, smiled, and said to him, "Please take care." Robert wasn't satisfied. He then left and went and ate at Jan's restaurant in Los Angeles. After an hour or so, he returned to Rebecca's apartment and rang the doorbell again.
But when the first time when she came down and she said, "Please take care," like, did they have a conversation prior to that? Oh, they just kind of talked to each other.
Yeah,
And then,
I think he just probably said to her, you know, a couple words, and she just said, you know,
Okay.
please take care. Was being cordial, was being
Yeah.
nice, not rude.
okay.
But it wasn't, you know, enough for him. So he left. He went to go eat. He came back. He rang the doorbell again. Rebecca came to the front door. She opened it. He took out the .357 Magnum that his brother had bought for him. He pointed it at her chest and he shot her directly in the heart 2 times. So at this point, a neighbor heard the gunshots and he heard Rebecca's blood-curdling screams. He rushed to find her in the building's foyer. He felt for a pulse but didn't get one. Rebecca was rushed to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center where she died 30 minutes later. You know, when I was first researching this, I was like, why does she keep coming downstairs?
Yeah.
Why is she coming downstairs? Again, this is a different time.
I would have answered the door twice
This is
without hesitation.
I just feel like today I wouldn't.
yeah, no, not today, but back
Today
then,
I don't want to. I don't answer my door because to me, there should be nobody coming to my house.
Uninvited.
Nope. Unless I
Yeah.
know you're coming over. I don't have people that just pop over to my house.
Yeah.
And just last night, I think there was a guy like, hello, hello. And how my dog, how Blue didn't hear it was beyond me, but he was asleep in the back here in the back of the house. And, yeah. And he was like, hello, hello.
What's funny, and I'm just going to say, Gina does not, her house is not right on the street.
No, you can't even see my house
have
from the street.
Yeah, you have to go all the way down a
So
long driveway.
I feel like if people,
it's like a privacy road.
yeah, like if people come to my house or if they're walking down that area, they have to be coming here. There's nowhere
Yeah.
else for you to go. But, yeah, it was, I mean, he was just like a solicitor or whatever, but you know, we have beware of dog signs everywhere. Like this is not a
Yeah.
house that you want to, you
Knocking on the door.
You don't want to be knocking on my door, but yeah, I feel like back then it was just a different time. And, you know, I'm sure we probably would have answered the door.
Yeah, I would have.
So it, you know, it's sad to see like in this many years, like what things have come to.
Yeah.
Like you can't even answer your door.
Yeah.
So,
Well, before they used to be able to leave the door unlocked all night.
oh my God, I remember during the summer, like I would sleep in my living room on the floor when I was a kid in the summer when it was hot, front door open. I'd put a sheet on the living room floor and fall asleep there and sleep there all night watching TV.
Until Richard Ramirez changed all that.
Oh, yeah, he changed my life
Yeah.
in many a ways. Yeah. So witnesses then saw a young man wearing a yellow shirt jogging up the block. He turned into an alley and he disappeared. Robert carried a copy of the book, The Catcher in the Rye, which he tossed onto the roof of a building as he fled. He would later go on to say that it was just coincidence and that he was not emulating Mark David Chapman, the person who shot and killed John Lennon. And that happened in 1980. So Chapman later revealed that he received letters from Robert before Rebecca's death in which he inquired about life in prison. So he's writing letters. Again, here we go again. Another red flag. Why is this guy reaching out to the man that shot and killed John Lennon?
Premeditation right here at its finest.
Yeah, like
he was
9 years
this.
prior.
Yeah, he was
9 years prior. He's asking him, like, what's prison life like?
And maybe not planning that particular person because that wasn't his obsession at the time.
If
but
you want to know what life is like,
yeah,
like, you know, it's
yeah,
very scary. So the next day in Tucson, several motorists called 911 to report a man running into traffic on Interstate 10. It looked like he was trying to get hit. He confessed immediately to the murder of Rebecca Schaeffer. Arizona police faxed his photo to Los Angeles and witnesses confirmed his identity. In court, he was said to look very dazed and confused. He made a statement in court saying, "I could probably tell you what I did after I killed her, how I got sick and all, but I don't feel like it." I mean,
well, I don't care.
Yeah,
I wish
good. I wish you did more than got sick.
Yeah.
Like,
just feel like that your entire life.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's You getting sick is nothing compared to what she felt.
Exactly.
So when Robert's sister heard about the murder, she contacted police. He was extradited to California. His defense attorneys pleaded he had an unstable mental condition due to childhood abuse, which I get. I understand that he had a terrible, terrible childhood. Intervention, people. Intervention.
But I just think there's other people who've had terrible childhoods and they don't go around killing people too. You know,
correct.
So,
but this guy clearly, he's got mental issues and he's showing signs that he is very unstable. He was institutionalized at 15 years old.
Yeah.
He's writing.
And it's really hard, I have to say, to get somebody the help they need.
Absolutely.
It is really hard, especially at 15, it's easier, but especially as an adult, it's almost impossible if they're not asking for it themselves or wanting it.
And that's the hard thing too. You know, if they don't want the help, then it's, you know, it's not going to happen. It's not going to work. Robert Bardo was convicted of capital murder in a non-jury courtroom. So no jury. I mean, could you imagine being a juror?
Yeah,
it's pretty cut and dry. He admitted to it, so
I think they can choose if they just want a judge to rule on it, or they want a jury.
I think the fact that he admitted to it, it's not. I don't think there's much to talk about. So on December 20th, 1991, he was sentenced to life without parole. After being convicted, Robert told the judge, "The idea I killed her for fame is totally ridiculous. I do realize the magnitude of what I've done. I don't think it needs to be compounded by a bunch of lies because she's an actress." What kind of lies? I'm not sure.
He did it for the fame.
I mean,
yeah.
You made a statement earlier saying, you know, alluding to the fact that you wanted to be famous.
Yeah.
To get her attention. So.
But now you're famous and you can't have her attention.
Exactly. Yeah. So Rebecca Schaeffer's murder was one of two cases that provoked Governor George Deukmejian to sign a law that prohibited the DMV from releasing addresses. It also inspired the Los Angeles Police Department to create the first threat management team. The California law was passed in 1990 and became effective on January 1st, 1991. The law was the first of its kind and helped to convict Jonathan Norman, who was sentenced to 25 years in prison for attempting to carry out threats against director Steven Spielberg.
Good.
I feel like everybody in Hollywood has stalkers. You hear about it all the time. I mean, I've heard people celebrities that just walk downstairs and they're in their home.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're in their house.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
So according to the legislation, a stalker is defined as someone who willfully, maliciously, and repeatedly follows or harasses another victim and who makes a credible threat with the intent to place the victim or victim's immediate family in fear of their safety. There must be at least 2 incidents. I don't agree with this. There must be at least 2 incidents to constitute the crime and to show a credible threat. By 1993, all the states, as well as Canada, put anti-stalking laws into effect, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
However, why do we have to wait 2 times?
Yeah, and I was going to say, because, and also women, huge stalkers of men, and they're just as threatening and just as scary. And it can happen on the first time.
Oh, yeah.
And just because somebody's not making a threat doesn't make them dangerous. Because with him, technically, his second time was the time he shot her.
Exactly.
You know, so I don't understand
how many things could just be completely,
Yeah, because the other thing, taking a teddy bear to the set, is that really stalking? I don't know. Maybe not. Fans
no, but then he
the
came
time,
back with a knife. So, okay, here we go.
There's the one. But but the second time he comes back, that's when he decides he's killing her. So I don't know. I think every case should be taken on a case-by-case basis. It shouldn't be let's spell it out.
Oh,
A, B,
1000%.
C has to,
1000%. Especially with somebody like this that has such a history of mental illness and all of this stuff and stalking other people. Come on,
And that's where
we got to do better, people. We got to do better.
Yeah. And that's where we said where some good came out of it at the end.
Yeah.
But somebody had to lose their life in order for
these things to happen.
And I just think we need to be more proactive instead of reactive. We're always in a society where we're reacting to things. Oh, we got to change it because this terrible thing happened. All these, the guns, the school shootings. Oh, finally, well,
that's what I'm saying.
They finally said like, oh, we're going to pass, you can't buy, automatic weapons. Oh, really? Like after the 200th shooting this year?
But like, I feel like it needs to go back. It needs to go back further than that. Like, let's talk about these kids that, every single time, like I've said before, I think I've even said it on the podcast before, every single time there's a school shooting, when you go back and you look at these kids' histories, like, oh my God, all the signs were there.
It's never a shock and it's never a surprise. And
why aren't we doing something? Because everything has to be kept hush hush because, the school has to, they don't want that rap. They don't want their reputation to be tarnished and all of that. Okay, well, guess what? When your school gets shot up, think of that reputation. Yeah. That's the last thing you're going to be worried about.
I do agree that a lot has to do with mental illness and we need to get the help. But, family, like access to medical care is not,
it isn't. And also
for everyone here.
I also feel like what you said earlier is it's hard when somebody is in that state and in a downward spiral, if they are not accepting of the help. Yeah. Sometimes your hands are tied and there's just really nothing you can do.
I just think though I know before it was so much easier to put people away, back in the days, women with their delirium or whatever, and they'd get put away into an insane asylum when they're not even crazy, things like that. So it does protect people, but yet we gotta, like I said, it's gotta be a case by case basis. It can't be cutting dry. Yeah. I always say, like even now, like I'm going to go on another tangent. You can't be in a room with your child in a medical room, because they're all, after 13 years old, you can't be in there with them because of HIPAA laws and stuff. And they have to have permission for the parents to go in there. But who's the first one calling me when my child's 21 years old when he hasn't paid his bill? Yeah. I'm still responsible for his bill.
Yeah. But I can't go to the doctor with him.
I can't go to the doctor with him, but yet I'm responsible to pay his bill till he's 26 years old. Not even 18. I'm like, hello, like it doesn't make sense sometimes.
Well, and it's also kids are very, very, very protected when it comes to stuff like that. A child can refuse treatment at a very young age if they want to. And that's here in California. I know that there's a lot of other states where you can put your child in, a home, a group home, a mental health facility, and get them the help that they need. With it, if it's addiction or mental health or whatever the case may be. In California, you can't do that. Yeah. You can't do that.
They have a lot of say in their own.
They can walk out at any age and refuse the help. And so I think that, that's another thing that needs to be looked at because that creates a lot of problems, unfortunately.
Yeah. You can't stop them from walking because I know that I've said before my daughter was working for, it's not a non-public school, but it's like, for medical, for mental illness and stuff, kids that need help. And my son works there now. And they say that the kids, they leave and you can't do anything. You can't stop them. Nope. You just got to follow them, make sure they stay safe. But until somebody else comes to, help.
There's only so much you can do.
But if they're refusing to go back, you can't do anything.
No, you can't do anything. And that's sad because where do they end up? On the streets.
Absolutely. But this is a really sad story.
It is. It is a really sad story. But I am glad that, some of these laws are in effect. I do think that they need to be rewritten a little bit, but something's better than nothing.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So that was our episode on Rebecca Schaeffer.
Yes. Thank you so much for listening.
So thank you for listening. You can follow us on YouTube and TikTok. If Shannon will ever update our TikTok.
I know. I need to
and Instagram
get on that.
at 50 States of Madness. Thank you so much to our Patreons. Helen and Kim, you guys will have shirts coming to you very soon. As soon as we're gonna send your shirts out. You're gonna get like our new merch.
Yes.
So those will be out to you guys soon. And thank you to our Patreons. If you would like to support us, we are at patreon.com/50 States of Madness.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
All right. We will see you next week.
Have a safe week.
Bye.
Bye.